come and
They did not
present.
discuss it at the budget committee meeting. I think they felt like they had already discussed it at the personnel and they were covered.
Well, if they've got it listed there in that fund, well, I'm sure we can take it up. Not any problem.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just clarification that I was looking for. Oh, there's election board. It says requested 290, so I don't know. We might want to check and see if they have that in there. Okay.
So they're looking at funding that out of,
County general.
but still out of county general. So it's not another fund. Oh, excellent. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Well, I think that was something that still remains a puzzle with all the different funds, what actually the revenues are going to be. Again, it's going to be more of a estimation than it usually is, for sure. So we'll just have to be careful as we go through it and see. But yeah, okay. So we've got plenty advertised. Okay, excellent. Okay. All right. Okay, so where are we on the?
If you want to go to the blue section in your book, and it starts out with the assessor.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. Reassessment.
So we're not going to look at reassessment. It's a levy fund.
Hey, Calista, could you either speak louder or maybe hit the mic or
Closer?
if you don't mind?
We'll try. Sales disclosure, which is Fund 1131. You look at the 4B that's enclosed in your book. They have an incoming budget estimate of 34,700. Revenues at 11.6, which they're exceeding their revenues, but they still have a $72,243.
What page did you say?
It's in the assessor blue
I
section.
got that, and then you said look at what?
It's the 4B that's, I don't know if yours are tabbed, but it's, you have tabs that says sales disclosure?
I got that.
Okay. It's on it's the form that looks like this. Did you find it? On here, it says fund name 9511 sales disclosure county share.
Yeah, this one here.
This
That's
is-
what she's
okay,
looking
that's
at.
what she's looking at. Okay, thank you, sorry.
That's okay.
That's okay. But looking at the current cash balance, what they have to expend for the remainder of this year, revenue that is estimated for the remainder of this year, and projected revenues, you would have an operating balance of $72,243. And it looks like it's contractual services, office supplies, and postage. 2020 so far, they've expended 10.6. So and in 2019, they only expended $11,095. So.
All right. So this can fund itself.
It is fundable.
Okay, any other questions about it? Should we take a vote on this, to approve it?
If you're okay with it, yes, you should.
Okay, motion to approve.
Am I?
The motion to approve.
A second.
All right, motion approved, all by
Aye.
aye?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Move on to the next one.
The next tab is the auditors tab, and there's plat map, which it's the first one in that section for me anyway. And it's 9504 plat book. Are you finding that okay?
Plat mapping,
Yes.
okay?
Again, with projections for the remainder of this year and looking at revenues for next year, you have a budget estimate of 21. The operating balance at the end of 2021 should be 194,477 based on the projections. So it is fundable. They're looking at $36,000 a year annually in revenue, and they're looking at 21.4 spending that. So
Okay. So, question. Is this something that you were looking at, you got any plans for anything for this, Jim? Okay. Okay. All right. I would entertain a motion then.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion second. All those in favor by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
the CASA tab,
CASA, yep. And thank you, Cheryl. This is nice. Did you put, or Karen do this, or Judy do this? Well, it's getting pretty easy to go through. Okay, CASA.
the budget estimate's $1,000. Revenue's only 200. They're using the cash balance, but the operating balance at the end is 1704. The $1,000 is for postage, contractual services, and dues.
All right, there was a little discussion, I think, before the meeting with Judy. You've got, what, CASA, about, did you say about 20 grants or so? Got several, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, no, but, yeah. Well, So this is one of them. So it's fundable. As the way it sits right now, if we get the $1,000 back in, right?
Yes, it's fine.
A question, Mr. President.
Yes.
Judy, estimate how many grants this would be, just, no, on CASA, just a guess. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
I think it's 5 positions that CASA has, the full-time positions, they're funded out of the general fund in the juvenile courts budget.
Okay. So did we approve this, vote on it, or not?
No, not yet.
A motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All by favor, by aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Clerk tab. Record perpetuation, they have, sufficient cash balance to cover, and their revenue exceeds their, projected revenue exceeds their expenditures, but, it does have payroll in there, and it looks like they have a request for a part-time person, so you may want to, until you approve that part-time person, may want to move on, so. And I'm not sure, I don't know that I've seen what the request is for that part-time person.
I don't,
But in the notes, it says requested 1 part-time person.
I don't. Oh, are continuing? Cheryl, are you thinking they're requesting to continue that person?
So they're not requesting anything different, it's just, maybe because on their form, they put part-time employee, and then it looked like it was a new request. Okay. Mhm. So, based on that, I mean, if it's a new person, the only thing that would change is if you change the rate of the part-time. So I don't know if you want to move forward, and then if there is a change in part-time, that amount can be adjusted accordingly, or if you want to, you have solid numbers on payroll.
Payroll.
Okay. Oh, okay. I mean, I see how it happened, I just,
Is that ongoing, Cheryl? Do they have that in there, that part-time all the time?
It-
hasn't been changing?
it's been there, but, yeah. Well, it's been there at least since 19.
Maybe the,
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at almost $260,000 operating fund. Oh,
maybe this is not necessary given the discussion y'all just had, but can we approve pending confirmation that that's the person they have, and then
Just go ahead.
make a phone call?
or
and-
we can even wait and come back to it, because we'll have other ones we need to come back to.
Okay.
The next one is the new clerk incentive, or as it's listed here, it's clerk title 40. They cannot fund this budget as it is unless either the payroll comes in less, but they're skating on the edge, so that may be one that you may want to review one way or the other, because you're looking at right now a negative operating balance, which it's not a lot. It's only $50 negative, but but
Well,
once the 5% is adjusted to whatever happens in payroll, it should then be in the positive.
but then, so this is figured in with the 5% then, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'd go ahead and approve it and go on. I think we're all right with that one. The revenue stream is the revenue streams remain stable, correct?
Yes, but I mean, I would anticipate that next year they're gonna have a problem, because you're looking at revenues of 44,000, but you have $67,000 budget. And they do have some increases, it looks like, office supplies. The rest of it's just payroll. Because they asked for $4,000 in office supplies that was not there previously.
Is there a tab on this one? I don't find clerk title for clerk
Okay.
elected officials, is that? Oh, the other way, clerk records. Oh. All I have is the Title V, I only have the first one.
Perpetuation?
It's perpetuation on the tab though, right? But the, oh, okay.
Incentive, 88.99.
For incentive. That's what I was looking at to begin with. Okay. Nope.
So what's gonna change on it?
Well, if you look at that,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Oh.
$50 negative. One, they have a new request for $4,000 for office supply, and you have payroll,
Part-time, yeah.
so, which payroll's put in. Do you want it? Last year, they requested 4,000 as well, but I would assume. And guarantee revenues.
So does that mean they would have been steadily reducing their operating balance over time, and now they've just gotten to the point of being
Yes.
next year a problem?
Yes.
How do we solve, how do we address that in general?
Well, I mean, you'd either have to, I mean, the only options you have is if their revenue stream increases, but that's not how you don't have any control over that,
Right?
or you reduce the amount of expenditures.
Do we cover them from county general if they can't cover from their own? Is that what that would end up meaning?
That's an
It's an
option.
option.
Which would suggest that I would like, to me, that means I would like to know what this $4,000 in printers means to them, among other things.
I don't know if Lisa has one.
Before we approve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no break put on it, but
Right. I mean, even if we have to maintain
Don't
their
run it through the
operation at a
feeder
loss,
because
we'd
of the
have a
tab.
$4,000 less loss unless
Hey Judy,
those printers
don't
are
run
really
it through the
critical to
automatic
their-
feeder
what
because
they're
of the
doing.
tab. I didn't know if you were paying attention to that part. Well,
Okay.
no, their books were all updated. They didn't have any sheets
Make a
in
note.
theirs.
We want to know what the $4,000 for expenditure, and let's move on.
Had the
Okay.
other What did you do?
Want to know what $4,000 expenditure that we denied last year, what's in there for this year? Clarified, and we'll move on to the next one.
It's,
Right. So,
What, are those for the elections, or what are they, do you know? Printers?
so I guess the question is, what's gonna happen to them if those printers are not approved, right? It would be the question to ask them. We see what it's for, but what if we don't approve it this year? Is that gonna grind them to a halt, or, you know?
Find out.
Okay.
I don't know what an ISET printer.
Me neither. I don't remember, put it that
I'm
way.
assuming it
I
has
believe I've had
something
it
to-
explained to me once or twice, but I can't remember.
I mean, because it's new clerk incentive, I'm assuming it has something to do with child support, so I don't know if it's some sort of receipt printer, but I'm assuming it has something to do with child support.
May I just ask, who's drawing the card to ask those questions?
Who's what?
Are we clear on who is going to ask those questions?
I mean, I can ask them. I don't
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
I do. Thank you.
Well, as of now, it's not fun.
Yeah.
That's one of the,
No. This, send it, yeah. Oh, excellent, thank you. Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay. Well, the revenue stream's not there, and the balance isn't there, so it's not funded. Can't be funded.
not at this time, depending on what happens with your salary. Then it
Is
may
the salary
possibly-
only thing affecting to put it over, the amount that's there?
Well, that and the printer, I mean, it helps as well. That's the only two things in there, it's salary, benefits, and
That's not what, so even with the printer in there, it was $50 unfunded?
yes.
Okay,
Now, the problem is next year, let's say that they don't ask for the printers again, or they don't ask for something. It's a
Negative anyway.
$63,000 budget. You have no cash balance, and if you have 44,000 in revenue, they're not gonna be able to fund it next year either.
okay,
So I mean, it's, you have.
but that's
the-
that's 2022.
Correct.
Okay, but it can be funded now.
Assuming that,
Almost.
yeah, it depends on what happens with salaries.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I move it ahead, and if it's funded for this next year, and I mean, we're gonna have the same things, you know.
Well, or if their revenues come in higher, then that may be too. So it's what's projected at the 44,000, but if it comes in 44.5,
Exactly.
Then they're
you're
good to
covered,
go.
but you're not good for long. So
Yeah. Fair.
So 5% of that salary is $1,800-ish.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of room between $1,800 and $50
right.
That's what
in
I'm
case
saying.
that goes down.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
And if it's over, why, it's,
I mean, I
hey,
guess
worry
if it
about it
comes,
next year for 2022 budget.
when it comes down to it, once we get in solid salary numbers, if you're still off by $50 or something, we could just adjust office supplies by that number.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Mr. President,
Well, you want to do that right now? You want to adjust that to
What?
4,000, or I mean, $3,950?
and balance it,
Can if you want.
let's do that.
Okay.
Suit you, Lisa? Okay, let's do it. Gonna take $50 out off supplies.
Yep. All right. Yeah. 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 Right. Yeah. I get a work comp audit. Yeah. How much revenue? How much revenue do you think the 4D goes? Reports from who? Okay. Well, gee, I'm trying to understand this because I thought the judge told us something else the other night. Like his clerk was doing all that. Okay. Okay. Well, okay.
Oh, like,
The redundant, on it.
Yeah. 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 What do you think the dollar amount that goes through 4D annually is? No, I was thinking, is it $700,000? Is it
Oh, that's way.
$2 million? 1.8? Yep. Well, it's kind of a interesting dynamics in the community, you know, the money. I mean, money coming in, going back out, the dependents, things like that. It's got to flow. Got to flow.
procedural question. Should the council periodically, should we give you a place publicly to talk about that kind of review or reporting that you get from the state?
You can do it in your spare time.
Just to come in, for example, once a year or periodically to mention in official to official time that y'all received a rating from the state or something that lets I know that wasn't, but some kind of commendation, just because who knows,
We
right?
can mention that in the council
Yes,
meeting.
yeah.
And give you heck.
Well, but when you do, well, either way, right? Theoretically, either way, but yeah. I mean,
We can bring that up. We can bring that up at the council meeting. Yeah,
Booyah.
yeah. Did you? Yeah, right.
That's great.
All right.
Mr. President,
Yes.
with showing a reduction in $50 in office supplies, then I would move for a motion to accept this report.
Okay.
Seconded.
All right. All in favor, by aye?
Aye.
Okay. What's the next item?
In the Commissioners tab,
Yes.
you have elected officials training.
Yes. Okay. What's changed here?
Um,
Anything?
No, I think that they may have, did they increase from 10 to 12, or was it 12? It was last year. It was 12 last year. Oh, I know, because nobody else does it. But I mean, I couldn't remember if it was when it changed. So I was thinking. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I remember. So anyway, it's definitely fundable with even projecting out for the 18 months, you're looking at operating balance of a little over 57,000. It looks like your projected revenues exceeds your projected expenditures. So it's in good shape. Well, then we'd run out of. They have expanded some.
Point, Cheryl? Cover what other training? I'm just think, I'm just. Uh-huh.
That the state offers, but they're not state all.
And it's only certain elected officials, correct? Because I don't believe it covers council at all.
Huh.
It says.
Surveyor.
So, well, if they've got revenue in that fund, then if you would request money out of there, would that be up to the commissioners to grant it? Well, I thought you just said other things could be paid out of it.
If,
Ah.
Okay.
Only if they would allow
Okay.
it.
kind of like a,
It would save
They is not the commissioners, they is the state.
no, state would be the legislature.
They is the state. Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, all right. Okay, excellent, okay. So I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Rainy day.
Okay.
It's fundable, there's no revenue source, it's an existing balance there. What the expenditure for is, should there be a shortfall in one of the funds that are set up for debt service. That's all that the intended purpose is at this point in time. Which I believe was it last year maybe, or the year before, there was a little bit of a shortfall in one of the funds there. Like cum cap or one of those.
Okay, to get our bonds issued, we are at about What's the bonding agency's requirements on this? Isn't this about what they want for us to
No,
hold back?
this
No,
is
but
just
we're-
what we
No?
do for our own purposes, because if there's a cash flow problem in,
Okay,
like, right now, it's either cum cap development or cumulative courthouse, I think those are the only,
okay.
yeah,
All
those
right.
are the only bonds left, and if there's a cash flow, when the bond payment's due, there's not enough cash to make payment, we pay it out of rainy day, and then you're not late with your payment, or you've met your obligations,
And how many times have we done that in the last 5 years? Is that pretty rare?
yes.
We're in pretty good shape, in other words.
Yeah. Yeah, the cumulative cap fund and cum courthouse, they do not have big cash balances. So if there happens to be a shortfall in distribution or something like that, then they could be in trouble. So I mean, it can
It's
happen,
good to have this.
but it's not common. But this way, we have the ability to make the payment and meet our obligation.
Okay.
It's a safety net.
Whatever, Jay.
Motion to approve.
Second,
All those in favor, by aye?
aye.
Okay, next item.
Riverboat, which is still under the Commissioner tab, I don't know, about what, 4 or 5 pages further
Oh,
back.
there we go. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if yours is tabbed or not. Again, you're looking at 255,000 in annual revenue, and the budget request is 250, and it is for our contribution for school resource officers, and also to build up a capital improvement fund for the commissioners.
That's right. On that capital improvement. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm still troubled by the fact that we're building up the capital improvement fund, but do we really have a capital improvement plan? I still don't know that we have that.
No, we don't.
For the auditor's office this year? To do a capital improvement plan next year? Ooh. I don't mean to be difficult, and I would back off this, which, why would I say that before I say what I'm about to say, but could we hold approving this one until we see if we can fund the $60,000 to do a plan next year, just for principle's sake?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I'm not
I mean, it
gonna-
doesn't mean we won't approve this one eventually, but gosh, wouldn't it be, I just think it'd be nice to show commitment, if you will, for what the auditor's office has tried to plan for, maybe, and see how that comes out.
The big story would be if we didn't approve the auditor's budget. Headline.
Well, I guess my question being, are we gonna get that revenue? And we've talked about that. I don't know that beat that one to death on the riverboat, but you said that they were gonna try to make those things whole, only stretch it out a little bit. Wasn't that the implication? So we can plan on that revenue stream just in a slower pace. Yeah,
Well, at some point, that'll go away completely,
well,
the casino.
When we get
Well, I understand, but at that time, don't you think we'd talk about the money we get from the
Yeah, I'm just
casino
saying
to transplant
that at
that?
some point, this will go away.
I mean, we're not gonna spend it twice.
No, and at this point, have an operating balance, you're projected to have an operating balance of a little over $500,000 at the end of 2021.
Really? Okay.
So I mean, that gives you some option. Or if the revenue's a little slow coming in, you're still covered.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
Courts tab.
Courts, okay.
Yes, I did not do anything with supplemental adult because there's some question with that because of payroll. That's one fund that wanted to shift 2 employees from there to county general
Yeah.
because of funding. And, right, and we may have a copy here, I don't know what, okay. So, there's that. Yeah. Yeah, we have to go both advertising both ways, give us some options. You put it so it's in both places.
Okay.
Now, right now, what you're looking at with it being there, that if you were to fund both positions out of there, you have projected negative operating balance of just under 25,000. That's in the stack that Cheryl gave you today. And that gives you some flexibility that maybe you don't want to take the bite of 2 employees to the general fund, but you could adjusting that. Is that the only thing in there? I mean, out of the general fund?
If salaries to
No, what I'm
general.
saying here, it's already in there. For the juvenile probation.
They would take it side. You believe they could do it all, use reason for it. Everything has.
So you're looking at shifting 100,000 out, shifting in another 20,000. No, but I mean, if
But that's what she, with the way.
Yeah. Thank.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Well, I think that's what, when we talked about this, when they put these people on, I think that's what we talked about, that county general was gonna want, that was the only place it was gonna be able to come from. I think that's what about all of these things. So, when they talk about 3 people or whatever, then 2 people here or 1 there or whatever, it's just too much for any other fund to handle except county general. So, gotta figure out what you need to do. We've done this, so the,
Is that move something we would do this year? And that means we have to look back at their county general portion and this and kind of rebalance both of those and see what that looks like to us for this year and next year? Okay. Should we hold this one until?
Yeah, this is not on my list, because I mean, one, as it is, you can't fund it, they were looking at shifting.
Okay. Oh, so we should go past it anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay,
Drug court user fee. Based on revenue, cash balance, and their budget request, they cannot fund this budget. They are short about $1,200. Again, that has your 5% payroll increase that may or may not make it fundable once it's done. Has their rent gone up?
I don't know how it could.
I mean, the amount they requested went up, but I don't know if the annual
I
amount.
believe Judge Rader told me it did go up.
Okay. And they've bumped up, looks like for travel expenses, mileage, official meeting, office furniture. Well, so far they've spent 30,000 this year. You're not even. So I don't know if they had to pay part of last year's this year, but that would be an awful big chunk. It doesn't make sense that they've spent 30,000, almost 31,000 so far this year. Well, but even if that's the case, 30,000 is not gonna cover it if they've spent 31,000 in a half a year. So this one was brought up because it's just not fundable, and this one's gonna take some review, so you know.
well, we knew that.
Yeah.
There's no
Don't
way
think
they
we
can
call
fund
it
it,
problem.
ever has been,
Now,
from
so,
fees anyway.
yeah, adult probation grant, DOC grant.
I think that rent was one of the big things we talked about originally, is they decided to go and rent another place, and then instead of searching for any county, they just arbitrarily signed a lease for something.
Yeah, and I think it's like like 7. Like
Yeah.
7.
Mhm.
There's a long
Yeah.
lease.
Yeah. So, the way it's spelled out here, we've got, what's our shortfall?
$1,200
That's
No.
it?
as of now.
As written.
I think that's what it was. I already moved on.
Yeah,
$1,200, $1,161.
Yep.
You've only got one payroll out of here?
Definitely need to come back. It's a definite.
Where's our other payrolls?
Huh?
Where's our other payrolls?
They paid out of their grant. The rest of the payroll.
Still out of the grant fund right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're coming back to this one later.
Yeah. Adult probation. This one is a fundable budget. Looks like they're anticipating, well, between $64,000 and $65,000 in revenue annually. And they have an estimate of 48.5, 48.6, and it looks like projected operating balance is 27,041.
Questions?
Hold on, I have a question. Wait a minute, I have a question. Why is the requested budget on the paper 70,330? And what's on the 4B is 48,580? So it looks like they've added travel, registration, and mileage on their budget, but it's not included in the 4B. But it's not in their budget request. And their budget request is different than what's on. Well, it says no one has insurance and they have insurance built in, so that might be the part of the difference there.
Okay, so we just need to get these balanced out there, Cheryl?
Yeah, we need to come back to that. It's not quite as easy as we thought.
Well,
I didn't catch that part.
right.
Lies. And I'll make money.
Mm-hmm. Well, that could explain the large difference, yeah, right there. 6 months. Sure.
September. Depending on which fiscal year. Okay, so we'll come back to that. We can check numbers. EMA, so it's a couple tabs back. They have emergency planning right to know, or LEPC.
Yeah, all right.
It is fundable at the projected amounts with the projected operating balance of just under $7,100.
Doesn't look like any. Registration fees are down 1,000. Official meetings are up. New equipment. Okay.
Does it look okay to you?
Yes, it does. The only thing I ever have with this is maybe the equipment that they get, and they provide some things for the different departments. Sometimes I think they could maybe provide a little bit more.
I know you do. I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second?
all right. All in favor, by?
Aye.
Okay. Next, where are we at?
Health tab,
Health,
yes.
okay.
I need you to go to the the local health maintenance, it looks like there's a funding issue. But there again, that may have something to do with the salaries.
It's a little over, is that
Because-
what you're saying?
Well, it's 3222 over.
Health, LHD. Nation,
And
okay. Health donation. Health maintenance? What is it, Cheryl, with three different funds that they usually balance out, get their payroll out of?
even
What do the tabs say?
mine says local health maintenance
There's
1168.
no tab
But I
there.
don't know if you had that
No.
tab or not.
Health maintenance about. Yeah, that's the way that it has been for, yeah, Last year, I think you got with the health department
Was
and
it health donation?
made them all match up, right?
Donations?
But quite honest,
Right.
once you have payroll numbers, that helps. And when you look at like the health donation, they only have 425 projected operating balance, so you can only increase that budget by 425 in order, and you're gonna have to pull more from the health maintenance than $425, so
Mm-hmm.
this may be, but my notes say that the health maintenance is not fundable. The health donation may not be either, so it's
Well, yeah, I know.
because it's split up between so many different funds.
For every payroll. Well, what would be a difference? I mean, it seems to me like that's what they want that. But that's what the health department has specified they want that money spent for, is payroll. Well, I know, I mean, not mine, whatever, they seem to want to have payroll out of those things. Personnel, I don't know, which keeps them out of those funds and not in county general, but whatever.
Is there a method to that madness, or is that just the way it's grown up over time for some set of reasons, and gosh, we wish that we could change that?
It's the way it's grown because originally you probably could fund that whole person's benefits, but as benefits increased, then
Uh-huh.
and maybe their annual revenue did not increase, it just outgrew that. So then we had to shift and say, okay, take part of the benefits out of another fund.
Do we have a way to balance that all out to put it back to a thing that doesn't
No.
require all of that?
No,
No, okay. Because of the limits on, okay.
that and you can't commingle the funds, so
Yeah. Oh, okay. But we couldn't do our budget in a way that met those limits that keeps you from having to balance back down or adjust back down to that. Okay. Well, and I know this is a different thing. And this is, I know this is in a different place, but Calissa, isn't this one of the series of funds that, or the health department is a department that's looking negative over the next, thinking about your cash flow?
Yes.
Do we need to have a bigger picture conversation about all of these funds with that in mind altogether, or nah, that's two separate things?
It's two separate.
Okay. Because I was thinking maybe we needed to look at solving that problem somehow, or at least looking forward to how we're going to address it. And I didn't know if we
Yeah.
could kill two birds with one stone.
No, because really to kill it, you'd have to take this person and shift them
Yeah.
out of health maintenance, and
Yeah.
that does to the health general fund. That doesn't help the
Doesn't help
situation at
that.
all.
Let's go in the opposite direction. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is always the thing. It's at least for the last several years that I've known. Again, health department direction. They want payroll out of. They want personnel funded by these grants, and the only other option would be to shift them and leave those grants alone and our funds alone. And yeah, I know. Well, I know. Yeah. So this one went down to the wire, I think, last year with you shifting a little money here and then a little money back that way and what have you. I think it was their thing to make it work, and the health department was cooperative. That's just what we want. 3 people funded. How do we do it? And they helped you get the money. I don't know, did they have to go to a 4th fund to get the money for that last year again? It's about 3 people, isn't it, the one we're talking about? Well, at any rate, but it went down to the wire with it, and we got it all fit in. But it's they could get rid of 3 people.
Not right now.
So what's your pleasure on this?
I would say that Cheryl and them have to make sure it
Work
fits.
it out, get
Yeah.
time to work it
And
out.
as soon as we figure out on pay, that'll be probably the biggest determining thing.
Okay, well, just
Yeah.
come back to health.
I bet it
then.
was just to bring your attention to that
Yes.
potential problem.
Okay,
Okay.
I wasn't expecting an answer on that.
Okay.
today.
excellent.
Next, go to the Parks tab, and you're going
Parks.
to want to go to the non-reverting capital, which is $30,000. They get $30,000 in revenue from Parks General Fund, and then they appropriate it in the capital fund, and so it would leave them 25,600 as an operating balance if they spend the entire 30,000.
Looks pretty tidy.
This fits.
Anything extraordinary about this?
Pardon me?
Is there there's nothing extraordinary about this, is there?
No, that may be one of the easiest funds to do.
All righty, well, in that case, I will entertain a motion to accept it and move
Aye.
along.
I second.
All in favor, by aye?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Prosecutor tab, infraction deferral. Which in mine is the first fund that's in there.
Okay.
That one they're requesting $93,150. They have the miscellaneous revenue of $100,000 a year. with the projections, is looking at an operating balance at the end of 2021 of 123,856.
Infraction deferral has been, the last 5 or 6 years, has been all over the ballpark as far as revenue, hasn't it?
No, that's probably drug task force thing. The infraction deferral doesn't seem a problem. People keep getting tickets.
We can count on
Well, I
that.
thought it was down several thousands of dollars one year or something.
It was back when the state police changed their mission slightly,
Okay, yeah,
but
all right,
never to the point that it was.
all right.
Okay,
issue.
motion to approve.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second, and all those in favor by aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
We probably need to come back to the drug task fund. And the reason being is because they have a request in, I think it's for like 35,000, for an additional appropriation for this year. And one, I don't know that they can't fund it this year, but they definitely cannot, they won't be able to fund it if, based on their, so. Drug task force seizure and brought in a lot of revenue since June 30th.
So, if we approve over expense and they don't get the resources, they buy vests or something for police officers. I don't know what all expense.
They do the cell phones for the drug task force. They have office supplies. They normally have some sort of equipment and purchases for other agencies.
Jimmy, did they get with you guys when on the balance in this before they buy 20 new vests or something? That's what I thought. So if there wasn't any cash in there, they might not buy. I thought so.
They're asking for a lot more travel, relatively speaking, and registration fees. Do we know anything about that? Is that important to us?
They're kind of freewheeling folks, but it's probably important.
Is it travel expense for those seminars in New Orleans and what have you?
They probably are better than the ones that get in auditor's office.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
thought
you don't need to go
I
out
thought they
state.
funded I thought they funded a
That's what she's saying.
I thought they funded a
That's why
seminar
I'm
out of this every
saying.
year in Phoenix
New
or New
Orleans
Orleans or something.
and-
I'm just talking.
Yeah, I think they might be better than French
I
Lick
thought
or
I
Belterra.
am I incorrect in that?
No,
I mean,
that's
I thought there was
exactly
about
true.
10 or 12 of them that went to Phoenix or New Orleans or
Orleans and
someplace
Oh, yeah.
annually. That's not here.
Well, they
Okay.
have travel, but I don't know that it's.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
All
They
right.
have registration fees in Portugal.
I know the last one.
Well, it strained it that one year. That was not this year, but last year when they
Well, it's
got
because
a vehicle
everything's.
out
Oh,
of
you
it.
mean you had to fill paperwork?
Confidential. We've
But I
got.
gotta speak on their behalf. They do have a dangerous job, and I would not want it. I would like to travel with them, however, I would do that.
Oh, I know.
You can't. Yeah, might be more dangerous. Never mind.
For them, it would be.
Well-
But this is one of concern that whether or not it's fundable and,
Well, if Kelly monitors it and and they're not gonna spend it, you guys aren't gonna write a check for it if they don't have it.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. So Lisa, do you have some questions about some of these expenses? Sometimes they're a little, I mean, would you like to get them and have them
Oh,
address them?
well, if we're comfortable,
my concern is that was it 35.6 or something like that? That was a seized assets, correct?
I mean,
Oh, so then we're okay then.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
infractional deferral, that's what
I
I
mean,
thought.
I guess my only thing is they do show up periodically asking for more money and budget adjustments, and they have I mean, it's not very much money, right? It's $3,000, but they have an unexplained increase in their travel and training.
Well, we can
I don't
reduce
know.
it if you want.
Why don't we ask them what it is? Maybe they
Can we
really,
just-
really.
Y'all mind?
I don't
Yeah,
mind.
we
sure.
can come back
Okay,
to
we can
this.
come back to it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Moving along.
All right, request, anything else in there, Lisa?
No, thank you.
Travel expense?
No, travel and, registration fees, I guess, both.
Travel
went
and
up.
registration,
Just
okay,
if they could just tell us what those are.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
all right. Next,
Where are we next?
where are we at? Thanks, guys. We got one more count in here?
Who?
Oh, we got one more in the blue.
No,
Drug
the next
task
one we want to go
force.
to is public defender.
Oh, okay, I thought we had,
Supplemental public defender. Their revenues exceed their expenditure projection, and you're looking at an operating balance of over 168,000, and for a $48,000 budget, 49.
says cash balance 194.
I do know that
Cash
in
revenue.
discussions with Gretchen that they did ask for office furniture and equipment. And they put part of it in the general fund and part of it in this fund
Okay,
because they have to do that in order for it to be eligible to come out of this fund. So
supplemental public defender.
Does that have to do with the new staff that she's requested? Didn't they ask for 2 legal secretaries?
yes, she wasn't. No. The equipment is for it's for computers
Yeah.
because they need to replace all. They
Oh,
have
okay.
what they have some sort of tablet. I think it's a Microsoft tablet that they're having with them, and apparently
Okay.
need to purchase something else. I don't know if they're going to Chromebooks or something. That's what she said about the chairs, but I know
Oh,
that
okay.
the equipment was for new computers. Well, I don't know that they're that old, but it's because IT says it's more of a problem with the type that they have, and they can't upgrade them. They can't do anything. It's just
It's
move
done.
on.
Okay.
But I don't Is that, but that's because they can't put it out there because it's, right.
Okay.
So they did 10% out of the general and 90% of the supplemental public defender fund. And I think it's probably pretty close to the same breakdown for office furniture. And Judy's right, it was for chairs. They need new chairs. They said
Other than that, it's everything
it's
copacetic.
fundable.
Okay.
fundable. Mr. President, do you have any questions?
No. Nope.
I would, make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, by
Aye.
aye? Aye. Okay.
Recorder tab, recorders, security or identification security protection. Revenues projections exceed the budget projection for 2021. Looking at a potential operating balance of about 31,600. They've asked for service agreements for 14.1, which I don't know if that's copiers or just an agreement on some of the equipment they have. But I believe it's, they asked for an increase, so I don't know what to say on there.
Perpetuation?
No, it's recorder, it's identification security protection.
Okay, I was there. Sorry. Okay. Service agreements 14.1. Budget, adopted budget. Pretty good size increase, right?
100.
Okay.
Be done with redacting. Maybe that's part of their
Oh,
their
yeah.
agreement.
That was a pretty extensive project. Okay. All right, so this is fundable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Service agreements, 14.1.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, by
Aye.
aye? Yeah, that redacting was something we talked about every year, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's a good
For a while.
project.
Yep. Okay.
The next one should be the sheriff's sale.
Sheriff's sale?
Have to be reduced slightly, in which it's only part-time in there, which it process servers.
Oh, okay.
Three, to a zero operating balance. And have the cap available for spending, so. This, they requested a process server out of the general fund,
Right.
part-time process server, to help supplement. This fund is supposed to be a cover the cost of process server, but part of it is they're not having sheriff sales. They were, I mean, and it's been a reduction over the years, but they really got hit hard this year. Well, I know, but they're not having sales.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Nothing to dance around
That's so
about.
hot.
Isn't
That's
that
so-
awful?
that's so
It's
bad.
cold.
So bad.
Hmm. Well, let's hope it stays that way, huh?
And quite honestly, I mean, if you look at it, it's kind of iffy because, which I think they've been using part-time help out of the jail to cover the process servers, because if you look at their cash balances as of June 30th, zero. So,
So
This is
we're
based-
getting addressed with process server with a 1 out of 10 presented to us, right? When Sheriff was in here
yes, it's
Tuesday night, he said process servers,
one of
Okay.
those requests.
county general revenues down. Here, we're seeing where the revenue, what the need is then, right?
So where can we take the 343?
You can do here is
Miscellaneous?
reduce the amount of the budget.
I mean, to take it out of miscellaneous, do you think? Or,
Well, no, I mean, like, you'd have to adjust your payroll down. If you take your 43 and divide it by 1.0765, say, okay, that's what we're gonna reduce payroll by. We're gonna reduce social security by the 7.65 of payroll. And that to the 22,587. Well, no, sorry, wrong
And we
one.
do that
to
right now
get-
without declaring a
20,
pay, whatever we're gonna do across the board for the
22.
county.
Well, I mean, if
44.
you tell us to adjust it to make it to zero,
No,
we
we
can
just make
do
a
that.
motion to balance with the balance budget.
Yes,
Okay,
we can do that.
You- because we're gonna have to address it someplace anyway.
Okay, Mr. President, I move to approve this with
Adjusted.
a balanced operating balance of 22,244.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all in favor by aye?
Aye.
All right, next.
All right, making notes. Surveyor. The Cornerstone Perpetuation Fund.
Yep,
This year, I don't know if you remember when he was in here, that he's asking for, some new equipment and for iPads to help with what they're doing with GIS and also training, or maybe training one in here, but the Wi-Fi for it. And then also they've increased, contractual services because they were wanting to do a database for all of their cornerstones and their data. That was 150,000, so it's a pretty big increase in his request. Normally, you've got about a $18,000 budget, and now you're looking at 172, which exceeds their annual revenue, but they had the operating balance in there before. So this takes their operating balance down to 177,830, and that $150,000 request is a one-time expenditure.
yeah, I was trying to remember when he was in here, how we were going over that. Do you remember the details of that?
Jimmy, on
The
Bruce.
surveyor on that contractual for the 100 and,
Well, if you remember that it was after the ransomware that they thought they had lost a lot of the data, so they wanted to do
They
a
have to get the
database
GIS
and have it
equipment.
off-site so that it was protected, so that they would not lose
They
that
just have to get
information.
equipment so they can get up to speed on their GIS and get all that
Yeah,
going with area
and
plan.
that by doing that, it makes it a searchable.
well, that's what I thought. It seemed a little,
I mean,
Well, I think that was kind of the quote that maybe he was given. Now, it may have been a, because I know he talked to him.
yeah. Well, I guess my thing, you
But
know,
maybe it was a, this should be the highest amount per Brent, you know.
well, it's fundable.
Yes, it's fundable.
So my question was, I guess, really has every department got to spend $150,000 to be in compliance with ransomware?
Well, I think ransomware maybe recognized the problem. And then you know, it kind of brought it to light, the issues that you may have it. And the
This
other
makes
thing is,
sense,
some
Lisa.
of the data they had was in WordPerfect. Works, it was in Works. Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. So it was in an old platform, so this gets it in more current platform, something that they can do something with. You should be able, if it's searchable, you should be able to run reports on and do things like
Okay.
that with it as well.
Okay. Well, you guys all right with it?
Well, you
I'm
can't
all
even
right. We have
access
to
it because
have
the
it.
program's
I
not
mean,
even.
you have to be able to, and it also protects the GIS.
The only thing I'd like to have, and we can approve it, I wish we had kind of, and maybe he gave it to us, I can't find my notes from that discussion,
Right.
kind of how things are going to be better. And some of that's just utility stuff, like more secure, right? But is he going to add, be better in terms of their operation? But I tell you, like with the GIS piece, exactly what does that mean to us? It kind of be nice to know that. I'm not going to refuse to approve it today because of that, but if I wonder if we could just ask for that. But all
Yeah,
the
they-
security stuff makes sense. The fact that he's asking for GIS with what Larry's doing, the highway department is doing, makes sense. It all makes sense to me.
That's what I was
His
hoping.
stuff works with Larry's stuff. Larry can find
Exactly.
the pins when they go out. That's what he's.
Well,
putting
and it's
in.
what Larry intended, right, with the GIS stuff, that other departments would be able to use it. So it all definitely fits
And the
together.
public can use it. The public can use what Bruce is putting in. That's
Yeah.
why he needs it. Right.
Yep.
They're gonna
Okay.
put all that
All the
into.
pins in, Bruce, that's what Bruce needs this for, so we can use it, highway can use it, anybody can use it.
Okay.
Now, the one thing that I would suggest, Lisa, is that maybe you contact Bruce, and maybe
Okay.
set up a meeting and you kind of ask him some
Yeah,
questions.
just
Yeah,
go
I'll-
over
He
it.
I'll
said
talk
when
to him.
We'd
he
appreciate that
spoke to us,
information.
He didn't
Yeah.
have the technical knowledge to explain it to us, but he knows what it is.
It all made sense, that's for sure. Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you.
So,
Yeah,
motion to
yeah,
approve,
yeah,
motion
that's
to
fine.
approve.
Second.
All those in favor by aye? Okay.
The last one that I have is the special purpose, the lit special purpose. We don't have a 4B for that, but from prior projections, and you know what your cash bud's coming in, but this is your $5 million contribution to the project fund for the jail that is due in 2021.
That's in here, right? In one, don't you have that in one of these
Lit
Yes, I
special
do.
purpose.
fun things?
It's not in
Yeah,
that, no,
but it's not
it's
in
in the
here.
spreadsheet part, not the printed out version. But this is the $5 million contribution that you have to fund the project. That's the last of the contributions as scheduled,
And this is fundable, right?
yes.
I mean, nothing's changed on that, really.
No, in the project, I think the report, the quarterly report suggested that there are no costs, no change orders or no cost changes that they've experienced.
Right.
And that's
So-
correct.
Okay.
It's still early.
Shh.
All
Remain
right.
hopeful.
And we need to approve this?
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor by aye? Aye.
Aye.
All right. That it?
That's
That's
all
it.
of them that I have through here, so I mean, that kind of, at least you can knock some of them out. I have the clerk's record perpetuation marked, riverboat, the drug court fund, adult probation grant, we're gonna look at that again. And drug task force, that we wanna check on travel and registration, which I'm gonna contact Rob for
Okay.
details.
Well, I think,
And that we need to come back to and look at for sure. And then there are the levy funds, and there are some that I just knew that I didn't have the information or something that we'll have to come back to, but you can at least mark the other ones off your list.
all right. So, let me.
Yeah, I mean, it came today, but I mean, I just, like I said, we'll put that in. We'll, as we get updated information, we can look at it and do
Okay.
those later.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They did have to put the, like,
Uh-huh.
they actually sent what was billed first, and what was billed first,
Oh, really?
and I told they would hire, they did.
Anything else you guys want to discuss at this
Not
point?
right now.
Okay.
Pick a date.
All right. What do you think? One day next week we can work on this some?
Sure.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? What?
Well, we have budget adjustment on Tuesday afternoon, and, that's the only thing I have right.
Well, I'm just trying to make a formulated plan. I mean, we got pay and longevity and personnel. At some point, we're gonna need to come to consensus of that, and then we can go through this pretty quickly, I would think. You got enough data? So it's been interesting. Been interesting.
Do Wednesday.
Wednesday?
I mean, I'm good.
Yeah, it's at 9:30 or 9:30.
CIB board meeting at
But
9:30?
they said as long as we're out by 10, they'll be out by 10, is what they said. I think it's at 9, they thought they'd be out in a half an hour, but we said if we had one, we'd start it after 10 or after.
All right. Yeah, capital improvement board at 9:30?
I think it's at 9.
9. Well, let's look at Wednesday at 10, okay? See if we can make some headway.
I think we better make it at 10:30.
10:30? All right. 10:30's fine. So, annual budget committees.
Yeah, me too.
Apparently they were planning on doing it Zoom, and they said they need to have it live and in person. I heard that this morning,
Hey,
because they
thanks,
wanted to know if
Jim.
we had any meetings scheduled.
Thanks.
So Wednesday at 10:30,
And in recess till Wednesday at 10:30.
Wednesday the 19th, is that the 19th? 18th?
19.
19.
Okay.
What day is that?
It's the 19th.
Wednesday the 19th.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Mike's off.